Hi, it's Katherine Gordon, certified personal trainer and author of Sugar Freedom, with an important question for you today. A healthy weight or a healthy waist? So I want to show you some things. This is a book called Body of Truth. Essentially, this book is looking at when we diet and when we pursue this idea of a healthy weight or an ideal weight, or when we're trying to get skinny, that sometimes we end up going down a road where there are unintended consequences. This was written by Harriet Brown, and she went through the experience. I'm going to grab my glasses and put them on. Good morning, Leah. I'm so glad you're here. We'll push this out to other people. I'm so glad you joined, because this is a very important topic today. Harriet Brown went through the harrowing experience of her daughter suffered from anorexia nervosa. So dangerous. This anorexia nervosa is the most deadly of the mental disorders. Bulimia, very, very dangerous. Binge eating disorder, very, very dangerous. So this is a serious subject, because this deals with our health and our lives long term. And especially as women living in the United States today, and probably all over the world, we're dealing with these demands on us that are asking us to stay young and beautiful forever. And hey, I buy into that too. I'll be honest with you. I want to be as pretty and as healthy and as energetic as I can. I love to dance, and certainly in dance culture, there is a demand to be slender. I'd like to get back up on my point shoes again, and there's actually a physical demand to get back up on those shoes. So we're going to go ahead and go on with this subject, because it's so important: a healthy weight or a healthy waist. So there's Body of Truth, recommended reading by Harriet Brown, to see a perspective on, by pursuing youth and beauty and thinness, are we really getting ourselves into trouble? Very, very important read, especially if you're a personal trainer, dietitian, nutritionist, anybody in this field. Here's another. Okay, I've showed you this before, and I'm sorry about the glare. I'll try to get it so you can see it. Time Magazine, The Weight Loss Trap, correct? Dealing with people who lose a lot of weight, gaining it back because of losing muscle, reducing metabolism, right? Serious, serious trouble. Who else have we've got? Oh, good. All right. So at any rate, let's go on. I'm not going to keep doing this with the glasses. I just want to say, anybody who is here, thank you for being here. Do me a favor, if you hit the like button, that really, really helpful. I'll hit it too. All right, moving on. The next magazine is the New York Times magazine from last Sunday, and it's called Losing It. And this article is about that it really isn't appropriate, or it's getting less acceptable to talk about losing weight anymore. We need to talk about getting strong. So there's so much confusion. What in the world are we after? So let's start with some honesty. I always wanted to be beautiful. I always wanted to be pretty. I remember as a little girl seeing Barbra Streisand on television, because the movies would recycle on television, seeing her in Hello Dolly, and also seeing her in Funny Girl. And it's so interesting because Barbara, as you know, has a look that's completely different from anybody else. But I remember as a little girl around 6 years old thinking that she was, without a doubt, the most beautiful woman I had ever seen in my life. It was the costumes, it was the singing, it was the way she had of making people laugh. At the same time, My Fair Lady, the movie starring Audrey Hepburn, came out in 1964, when I was born, and so that film would come on. I do believe that they sometimes played it on television, and I thought that she was astonishingly beautiful. So, and of course, as we know, Miss Hepburn was very, 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 very slender. And I also remember watching Cinderella, right? That starred Leslie Ann Warren. Oh my goodness, I thought she was so, so beautiful. And I wanted to be beautiful too. That was something that I wanted for myself. But very shortly after that, I began to realize, as I got a little bit older, that I did not necessarily have what it took to be beautiful, because I was the youngest of many children, and I had sisters who were taller and were more slender and seemed to fit the ideal of beauty more, whereas I didn't. I was the little round brown-haired girl, and I know I bleach my hair now. Well, actually, it's gray and I add color to it now, but that's beside the point. But already starting at a very young age, trying to change myself in order to become more beautiful. And then going into a field where I wanted to be pretty so that I could get more parts, musical theater, becoming an actor. And the funny thing is that I like to make this joke. I'm not a beautiful girl, but I've played them on stage. And it's so interesting as an actor and as a stage actor that with the right costumes and the right makeup and hair, you can become beautiful. It's a little bit harder on camera, but with the right lighting and the right makeup, you can do that too. So what are we supposed to do if starving ourselves is unhealthy, if beating ourselves to death, training every day is unhealthy? What in the world are we supposed to do? What is the parameter we're supposed to use? Something else I want to mention, there's some pushback about the plus-sized model that we're seeing girls who take up more space getting more magazine covers and getting more coverage on runway shows. And people are pushing back saying, well, I don't know if that's really healthy. Well, I have an answer for them, because if we look at the science about what is keeping us healthy over time, right? So say you do a study on longevity for women. And very often what we see is if we see a precipitous drop in weight over a woman's lifetime, that's not necessarily an indicator of good health. What is the indicator of good health? The indicator of good health to a certain extent is homeostasis, that we are maintaining, we're achieving a healthy weight as we come up into maturity, and then through pregnancy and menopause, we're continuing to maintain something fairly close to that weight. But there's something even better than weight. There's waist. Weight fluctuates like mad. We can go up and down 4 pounds during a single day, just, where our fluid content, whether we're bloated, whether we're retaining water, whether we've had enough salt, what we've eaten. But this, men and women, is the gold standard. We can also talk about the golden ratio. This is the gold standard for figuring out, am I healthy? Okay, so here's the studies that I have seen, which talk about what we want is to maintain the waistline within 2 inches of where it was when we became mature. And I forgive me, I need to go back and see if that's 18, if that's 21. I happen to actually know exactly what my waist was when I was 17, 18 years old, because I was measured for an outfit back then. And I remember the measurement, and I remember that I had a 24-inch waist. And I remember the tailor being pleased and being impressed. Now it's not that big a deal. I'm only 5'1", and I'm 5'1" on a good day. So there's nothing really way too skinny about a 24-inch waist on a woman who is 5'1". Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back, 36, 24, 36, only if she's 5'3", right? Remember that song? So let's go ahead and measure. So here I am. I'm going to step back and I'm going to do the measurement. I haven't had breakfast yet, but I've had my coffee. So it was 24. So let's see what it is. So I'm not going to suck in hard, but I am going to use good posture. And I'm going to use, I'm not looking. I'm going to be realistic. It is, it's 27. It's 27. That's a realistic measurement. So what I'm looking at within 2 inches of 24 is, do the math, it's 26. Now I will be honest. I am a personal trainer. I am a fitness nutrition specialist. I'm going for 24. I am going into a program where I'm following Sugar Freedom, and I'm going to do the Venus factor. I'm not going to go as low as they recommend I go. My perfect measurements would have my waist down at 23.3. It's a little low for me. Not going to go there. But I am going to go for getting back to 24 because it's not just about vanity. There is actual science that shows if I maintain that waistline that I had when I matured, that this is going to be an indicator that I'm less likely to have dementia, Alzheimer's, certain cancers, and certainly type 2 diabetes. I'll be honest, there was an element of vanity here. I want to be pretty. I want to be pretty as long as I can. But I also want to be healthy, and I don't want to drive myself or my family crazy by starving myself. So I've done it before. I've been at 24, and the point is getting back to within 2 inches of that waistline. And so right now, this morning, as you saw, I was at 27. I'm 5'1". Yeah, I'm 5'1". And so I want to get back to 24. So that's what I'm sharing with you today. Why not, instead of worrying about a healthy weight and worrying about what your weight is, why don't you just why don't you consider what your waist is? This nice little tape measure that you can get at any general store, order one online, this little tape measure is so much kinder and so much more honest than your scale ever is. So that's my recommendation for you today. Go with the tape measure and see if that's a healthy waist. Now, interestingly enough, before I close out this Facebook Live with you, so what is the low number, right? There is a parameter. Interestingly enough, if we look at USA websites talking about health and size and what your waist is supposed to be, they really don't have a lower limit. But if we look at European websites, or if we look at Australia or Canada or anywhere, or England, they actually do have a lower limit that they say if you go below this, you might want to check and make sure nothing untoward is going on, because going too low might be unhealthy. So what is that number? All right. So the high number is 50% of your height, correct? So if your height is 60 inches and your waist is 30 inches, you're on that healthy border. If you're 60 inches tall, you don't want your waist to be larger than 30 inches. But what is the low number? The low number that I've seen on European websites is 40%. So you don't want to go below 40%. Or if you do go below 40%, you want to check and make sure that everything is okay. That might be natural for you. You might have that natural hourglass wasp waist going on. So I haven't done the numbers on what 40% is on me, but I do know that trying to go down to 23.3 would be lower than 40%. However, I've been at 24 before. I am going for 24. Now, I might be able to get, 24 when I really suck it in hard and all of that, but I'm going for 24 without trying to force it. So I'm going to put my glasses back on. Vanity, thy name is Catherine. And I'm going to say hi to Elizabeth. I'm going to say hi to Candy. And I'm going to say hi to Carla. And I want to say hi to Cindy. And I want to encourage you, let's look at health and vitality. Let's give ourselves a break. Let's give the scale a break. And let's use this instead. And let's talk about that healthy waist to height ratio. Step 1, we want to get below 50%, right? That is step 1. Waist below 50% of height, first thing, right? And then the second thing is we're going to look at what was your waist before, certainly women, before you had a baby. What was your waist when you were a young woman? And we want to see if we can keep that waistline within 2 inches of what that was. And this is what we call homeostasis. And we've got good science that supports the idea that it's not so much about how skinny we get, but it is about maintaining that healthy weight and that healthy waist. And then the other thing I want to leave you with, especially the women who are watching, once you get to that healthy waist, which is, below 50% of height, around 2 inches of where you were, let's get out there in the world and represent health. It's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. We are seeing in advertisements, we're seeing in magazines, we are starting to see rational images of women. Let's promote that. Let's go for that. And let's go into this understanding that if somebody is naturally slender, like Audrey Hepburn, now for heaven's sake, would you beat up on Audrey Hepburn for being slender? I don't think so. So, and at the same time, as we're coming into health, let's not beat up on ourselves or on anyone else. Let's understand that we want to bring all kinds of healthy and beautiful shapes into the world. Vive la différence. And I will leave you with this. I want you to think of a bouquet of flowers. Roses and daisies and larkspurs and snapdragons. I want you to think about that bouquet of flowers, spikes of lavender. Can you imagine if the only flower that was acceptable or considered beautiful was a red rose? Can you imagine how limiting a world like that would be? I love a red rose as much as the next woman does, symbolizing love and beauty. But for heaven's sake, let us not have only one flower in this culture. And so for those of you who are involved in the culture, I have the good fortune to be a choreographer and a stage director. I want to challenge you. If you are involved in art and culture and dance and music, I want to challenge you. Let us open up our world and our stages to flowers of every kind, not just the one that stands for status. And I think you know what I mean. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I'm Catherine Gordon for sugarfreedom.com, and I will be back. If you're curious, I am doing a challenge of going live every day in August, and I want to thank Lou Bortone and everyone over at the Go Live Every Day in August group for inspiring me. This has really been amazing. And that's what I'm going to leave you with today. Go out there, make it a good day, celebrate all kinds of beauty, and go out there and make the contribution that you can make to society without worrying about somebody judging you. That's my challenge for me today too. Bye-bye everybody, and I'll be back tomorrow with another Facebook Live every day in August. See you soon.